lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan, and back with me again, one of my favorite indie cartoonists. I got Jerome Cabanatan on. We are here to talk his new Kickstarter that's been live for 2 weeks. Has it been 2 weeks yet?
Almost 2 weeks. It's
okay,
like a week and a half.
Almost 2 weeks. Okay, so Tree versus Fox. It's the sequel to Troop 44, right? Your other fight book, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So let's get straight into it. I guess a little backstory. I mean, we've already chatted before, so I think you mentioned Troop 44, but for anybody that hasn't checked that out, maybe you want to give them just a little elevator pitch of that book, and then let's talk Tree versus Fox.
Okay. Troop 44. It came from an after school program that I started, after school taekwondo program that I started when I finished competing, and it was basically a football movie wrapped around Karate Kid, and I wanted to have some instructionals in there, right? Rather than just making it just a training manual, I wanted to have some real moves in there, but I wanted to explore some fantasy muscles. So with the main protagonist being trees, and as trees being thought of as lesser beings, the whole story is basically about being more than what you think you are and being more what other people think you are, on top of like a lot of hiya fart jokes, all that kind of stuff too. Tree versus Fox, however, it's more hard hitting. It's more of a fight comic. It's rather than let's say fans of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which is what Troop 44 is. It's Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Captain Underpants. It's that group. Tree versus Fox is more like for the 80s crowd. It's for the 80s black and white. It's for Scott McCloud's Destroy. It's for Ninja Turtles. It's for Ronin. Like minus like blood and guts and like boobs, but like the fighting, and the black and whiteness that's really kind of what I wanted to sell. As far as stories, it's about like two strong people being drawn to each other to fight. Right? It's the whole iron sharpens iron type thing. I don't want to give too much, but if you want to see good fighting, I would be hard pressed to say that there is going to be a better choreographed fight than in this book, right? I think at least an American comic, because I don't know what happens in Japan, because they're all everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm not trying to mess with that. These guys have been messing with AI in their own brains for forever now. So like they're cyberdyne. So I'm not trying to mess with that. But for the most part, in terms of the choreography within the action, I think it's something that people will really, really enjoy. And those cartoonists that maybe have a hard time with like making fights that make sense, I think they would enjoy Tree versus Fox just kind of as it's a showcase. It's a showcase of flow, right? It's a showcase of flow. And I know I have my drawbacks when it comes to actual draftsmanship and everything like that, but I think the strength of a lot of my comics, especially in the action comics, is it's in the flow between the panels and knowing what fits where. And I think that's lost in a lot of comic fights. Like there's guys that will draw like beautiful knuckles, but it's the same shot over and over again. And I don't know. I think with the world being more educated in combat sports, right, with the rise of MMA and kickboxing, and like boxing super popular now again, even though it's not for the right reasons, people watch it more. So I think it's about time that people can appreciate it, and it's not just John Wayne punching a guy back and forth in a bar, sliding him over the thing, which has its place too. I haven't drawn a guy like sliding over a bar yet, so I'd like to do that at some point.
Yeah. Well, I think that also, I mean, you mentioned, but like you are practicing martial artists, like, so that is one of the things that I've noticed, like your choreography like is your strong suit. Like that is the thing that makes you stand out, for all your books, like the way you choreograph a fight scene. Like I think you shared I think it was probably like maybe not thumbnails, but like roughs for something, and I don't think it was Tree versus Fox. It was a few months back, but like that is something that like you're able to draw from real life experience, real stuff,
100%. Like I didn't read all the like the classic books. I'm not like, I was a smart kid in school, but I'm not overly academic. I wasn't a bookworm or anything like that. I watched action movies. if a cartoon didn't have fighting in it, why would I be watching this cartoon? Like something like even like Muppet Babies, like of all the people in Muppet Babies, like Miss Piggy's it. Miss Piggy's it. When she goes, hi, yeah, you're like, yeah, I'm watching this now, right? And it didn't matter. So that's usually where I draw a lot. That's where I draw most of my inspiration from. I've been doing Taekwondo since I was 5. I'm 40. So my brain can't see the world without that lens, right? Not to say that I'm fighting everything, but like if I'm having a hard time with something, I draw back to another thing during my training that was hard. Something that was easy that I think I'm falling off. Right? It's easy, and then you kind of plateau and you're falling off. When I feel that, I remember a time when I thought everything was good and it wasn't, and it keeps me balanced and it keeps me grounded. Whenever I get to do layouts, I think one of the biggest things was when I got to do the layouts and like let's say in image grand design, and Chris Anderson went over them.
I think that's the one I was thinking of.
Chris Anderson went over them. That was like a huge light bulb change. I was like, whoa. And then in Ulf Maverick, like Tony Farrow, he had like I gave him a layout for a fight, and he uses it in Ulf Maverick, and that was blown away. So I don't know. I guess it's something that I keep like going to the well on, like just because I'm not sick of it yet, and hopefully people aren't. It's like that multi-panel fight. That's what I really want to. That's really what I really want to showcase, because I'm not gonna write the greatest novel. I don't think I'm there yet, right? I haven't read enough to feel like that's what I should put out into the world. I think the things that I can put out into the world confidently are good fights. And if somebody is going to be better and make them look pretty a little bit more, that's good too. So like even in the 1963, I have a fight in there that I'm getting somebody else to go through. I think it's slated to be Milo Trent. He's dope. He's dope. Yeah, I like him. Yeah. He's almost like a cartoony Charles Burnsy type guy, right? And he's got that feathering. So I'm excited to see what that ends up looking like. And I just like those have been like some of my favorite collaborations, is just because that's kind of like my writing, is how the fight works, is that's kind of like my writing. So if I could see somebody draw in their style, so that goes for anybody out there. If you guys want to have a final battle and you're like, I like that fight in Tree versus Fox or Image Grand Design or anything else that you did, can you set something up? I just need to know who wins and who loses, and and then we'll talk. So that's open for anybody out there that wants that flavor in your stuff.
Yeah, it's true. There's not the action in the comics sometimes is like lately. Some of it's good, but like I've always felt like a character like Daredevil should have like the best, and I feel like I'm not trying to like throw shade on anybody. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Daredevil right now at Marvel. Zdarsky's doing a great job. All the artists he's got on, great. But you don't have those like scenes like when Frank Miller's choreography, like Kirby was good too. He made all those panels, and like just the Hajime no Ippo, the boxing manga. I've never even heard that.
That one's really, really good. But the thing is with manga, like there's like 3 panels on the page, so the fight takes 60 pages, but it's choreographed well, and it's real, and most martial arts manga are actually really good, like Grappler Baki. That's another good one, but because it's manga paced, like on the page, it takes up a lot of space. I kind of like that tightness, that tightness for it. So that's kind of where I got so for Tree versus Fox, the whole thing's pretty much a fight, but the last 3 pages where I kind of like build it all up, I usually work digitally, but I drew all the panels on cards. I drew all the panels on like 5x7 cards, and then I scanned them in, and then I rearranged them. So and that those are part of the tiers in the Kickstarter. So like, because I don't usually have original art, rather than me saying that this is like a $300-400 page or whatever, I can say that this panel is $20, and I feel like I feel okay with that. So original art's out there, right? On a card, ballpoint pen, because I have a bag of those, and I don't like wasting things. I don't know how I even got that bag of pens. I completely forgot. I just have this bag of pens, and I think maybe somebody was working at an election or something. I don't know, but I have a bag of pens, and I don't want to move up and get like cool stuff until I get rid of these pens and Sharpies, right? It's like, it makes the mark, right?
Yeah.
Right. Not archival, so it's like, then you have to buy it now.
So the Tree vs. Fox book, it's oversized, right? It's not traditional format.
It's magazine size. So let's say, so here, this is a full cover. This is not the real cover. But let's say I got like Spawn, right? So it's magazine size. It's as big as Super Mag, right?
Uh-huh.
As big as Super Mag. Same size as the Conan.
Right on.
Same size as Conan, but again, it's like no boobs.
So what was the decision in doing that? Is it so that you could, like, because you just talked about how like the manga, the fight scenes are smaller, so it's more condensed. Did you want to open it up more, or did you kind of go with that pattern of like it's condensed but just larger page?
Yeah. When it comes to a fight, sometimes I feel like turning the page, if it's too often, then you lose the impact of the page turn. But I like that tight grid where it's almost animated as you see it, right? Like, I know I don't like that thing with manga is a lot of times like they'll swing the camera around, and it's like the pictures look really, really cool. But if sometimes my mind will have a hard time following it because it changes around. It's like watching like a highlight reel. If you watch a highlight in sports, and if the camera keeps changing, then you can't really get the feel of how good that is, right?
Right.
Of how good that is. Like, a lot of times it works, but then there's other times that it doesn't. And I just feel like when it comes to a fight, I like to show off what's actually happening. I know a lot of people, they don't care. They just think, oh, the fight's the fight. Okay, let me get to the end, and then let's see who wins, and then let the story progress. I've always been opposite. Like, I've watched so many movies where I memorize what happens in the fights, but I don't know anybody's name. Like, quite honestly, like I'll remember like the big moments in the fight. It's like, oh, he hurt his knee, so then he couldn't do this later, right? Oh, he got poked in his eye, so then he couldn't see out of this side. Like, and that stuff makes sense to me. That interests me. But like, why? Like, the girl that he saves or whatnot, I'm like, I don't know. She was blonde? I don't know.
Yeah.
But these kinds of stuff, that's just always what stuck to me, and that's what Tree vs. Fox is. It's a love letter to things that I find important, right? So if you want just an action sequence, you're going to get a really good action sequence. If, let's say, you're a martial artist or somebody with ambition and you want to do something, I would hope that the story and the words in there resonate with you and make you want to do more, make you want to be more. And and if you're like a comic creator and you want to kind of peek into the mind of like some action, like of how we do it, I would hope that you could get something positively from that too. So I really want the book to hit people at a bunch of different levels, but it's under the guise of it's a fight comic, right? It's not I don't want to say that it's deep or anything, but I would like it to go deeper than its surface action, right? I've been working on this, I guess, for a year and a bit, in between a bunch of different stuff. It's one of the things that that's always been in my mind. I didn't do this comic like any other comic that I've ever done. None of the pages that I did were in order, right? I did that whole what Matthew Allison said. I heard him in an interview where he draws he just draws the cool stuff, and then he'll fit the story in between. So I started drawing it like just by a bunch of like fight panels, and then I arranged them, and then I got a feel of it. Then I started making like different pages, and then now I'm at the end, and I'm making like at the end I made panels again, but then now I have original art because like I had the guts to say, I was like, okay, now I have some real stuff to hand out.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just checking on the Kickstarter while we were talking, and there's only 37 backers. Come on, kayfabe. Come on. The group needs to get your shit together and go back this thing. That was way more than 37 members in this group. So
Yeah.
I just want to put that call out to everybody.
Thank you.
What I do like though is because you do a lot of other stuff. It's not just Tree versus Fox. You do the Black Belter stuff on your Patreon, and then you got One Stone Next Panel Press.
Yes.
I mean, I think I have some Black Belter, but I did the tier because you're offering those as not add-ons, but in specific tiers.
That's right.
Great idea. I love that for everybody that hasn't got it yet, can catch up.
Yeah. If you need the Jerome Cabanatan All-Star Pack, it's right there.
What else besides like those books that you can get? You can also add them as add-ons. You have all the original art tiers. Do you have any other tiers that you think you might add, as you near the like midway of the campaign, or any stretch goals?
I'm not gonna. I don't want to add anything like midway through the campaign, but in terms of a stretch goal, for the stretch goal, I've reached out to a few kayfabe artists that are active in the community, and as a stretch goal, I'd like to have some variant covers out, right?
Oh, no.
Right, some variant covers out. So, like just to see some of like the K favorites, right? the K favorites that I'll just say right now, like a Craig cover could be there, right? A Rick Lopez cover could be there. A David Brower's cover could be there. Kevin Anthony Catalan could be there. Chris Anderson could be there. Missimo could be there. Yeah. But I gotta hit some stretch goals, so these guys ain't doing it for free,
Right.
I really like how Rocco's been doing Ghost Agents, where like, yes, it's things to do with friends, but you got to give them, you have to give them something, because you don't want to just mooch off your friends the whole time, right? Yeah. So that's the stretch goal. So I want to make the goal first, so then we can start showing that off and get people excited. And I've never played the variant game, so like maybe people just go and they're like, oh, I want all of them.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, you could also do them as prints too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can do them as prints, do them as pinups, but it's just I'll have a little bit more control on this one, because for this first run, after the Kickstarter, for this first run, these are gonna be all me, heart and soul. Like I am gonna be stapling them. You can tell because the staples are gonna be colored, so you will know that it's not popped out of the printer, it's not popped out of the machine. I'm doing this as it's for this run, for this first Kickstarter run. I want it to be completely street level, from my hands, from my heart to yours. If it's something that is going to be like a lower print run, like without like a publisher or anything, I want people to feel my love for it, right? And I want it to make them want to do more things. I want it to make them feel like they can do more, right? And it's just like it's the tree and a fox fighting, right? I'd like to be able to show like what you can do, right? What you can do. It's magazine sized, but you can still do it. You don't need you can't wait to break in. You have to just kind of like, I don't think I can wait to break in. I think I'm just clawing and knocking at the door and being really, really annoying. Here I am, and just pum until someone picks up.
I mean, you are in, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I look at everybody in the group. Like if you've made a comic book, you are in. It's being like I don't know, like maybe years ago, like people felt like being in, you had to be like in a Marvel or DC or the, you know, Dark Horse and whatever it is, you know. But I feel like now it's so different than it used to be, and the stuff like Kickstarter is kind of what made that possible. I mean, there's
Oh, yeah.
people that only do Kickstarter books, but they make a very good living. Like I interviewed this guy, Curtis Clow, um, and I only came across him because he is represented by the guy that represents Rob Liefeld. Like it's his
Mm.
PR guy. So he had helped me get the Liefeld interview, and then he reached out to me about interviewing this guy. And I talked to him. He had multiple Kickstarters, right? And he literally is now making a living doing that, and that's all he does. And it's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
It's like he just built a fandom, and he's the writer. So he finds artists, and he finds like, I'm like, I don't know how you find these artists, dude. They're awesome, you know, but he does. And he has one on right now, and it's like 300% of the goal. And his goals are not cheap. Like they're pretty high up there. So I think that, you know, you could almost look at Kickstarter as like, I don't want to say the publisher, like that's the wrong way to say
I've
it.
seen a lot of articles that call Kickstarter like the top comics publisher. That was a large reason why I thought, I was like, yeah, I could do it. Then I'll have control. It's like, I know it's going to be a lot of work, but uh, I know for this first one, it's it'll be smaller. I think I can manage it. Right? I think I can
Yeah.
manage it. Unless it wants to blow up and then you guys give me all this stress because you're throwing a bunch of money at me. I don't mind that either. I will handle that stress. But yeah, the opportunities to make things like to do things like Kickstarters, print on demand stuff like Amazon KDP. I do a lot of books there too. Oh, here the most recent one is, sorry, I'm gonna tangent. So this is the
Yeah.
Adventures of Team Brain.
Uh-huh.
Adventures of Team Brain. It's a children's, it's a picture comic book. It was written by Tara Grotto, who is she doesn't like the term, but like it's like a parent coach, right? And she works with neuroscientists and child psychologists and things like that. And she wrote it. There was some information that she wanted to display about what happens in a child's brain before they have a tantrum, right? Before they have a tantrum, and things that you can do to manage it before it gets too far. Because when it gets too far, it's too far. You can't do anything. Like, but
I need
catching it
that
before,
book.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I need that book.
Adventures of Team Brain, and then I think up until today, which is Friday, it's for this week. For this week, if you get one, she's gonna donate one to a book club for underprivileged kids. So she's matching everything 1-to-1. It's probably going to be done before the video is up, but I'll put it up on my Facebook. And anyway, I've been doing that all week. But yeah, so that's been fun. That one reached number one on Amazon, and that's cool. And like, so I've done 4 books, right? 4 books on Amazon. Three of them got on bestseller lists. 2 of them got to number 1, like fleeting, but it's like, it's always fleeting, but it got there. And that's kind of where I get a lot of confidence from. And it's like, yeah, it's not like I don't get the Kevin Eastman tank or anything like that yet. Like I haven't gotten all that or Viper, but it's nice to know. It's like, okay, for a moment, like it's consistent. When it comes out, people will like it. People will like it, and someone will, right? And it may not necessarily be the Faust fans, right? It's like I know, right? It's like it might not be necessarily like the guys that want the MCU stuff, but I think I'm doing a decent job of trying to find my niche and find my crowd, find my audience. I threw spaghetti at the wall. So like even something like Tree versus Fox is like that whole Troop 44 universe. It spans different the different demographics. So like there's ABCs of Haya, which is a children's book, right? That's Dr. Seuss. And then I have Troop 44, which is like we talked about, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Smile, Captain Underpants, and then Tree versus Fox is the 80s cartoons. But I also have a Let's Make a Comic group set of zines, which is for kids that like to make comics. And there's like fliperamas in there. The fliperamas in there too. So I'm just trying to throw as much as I can, and rather than trying to put myself in a box and say that I'm this kind of cartoonist, I'm a cartoonist and this is my stuff. Throw it in whatever box that you want, because I'll waste a lot of time wondering if I fit into this box or fit into that box rather than getting it done. And like we said, to break in, it's getting it done. And that's the comic is the thing, the book is the thing. So I'm just trying to get as many of the things that I can. And that's where the Patreon comes in with Black Belter, right? With Black Belter, I do a lot of shorts and one shots, and I need to collect it rather than sitting there and try to collect. Oh, I'll wait until this book. I have 100 of these, and this book is completely done. It's like, nope, I'll go page by page, not think about it, and then one day, like, oh, I can collect it. And it's been coming out. It's been coming out quarterly. I think the next one, I'd like the next one to come out maybe around the same time as when Tree versus Fox is ready to get mailed out, just so I can constantly churn stuff out, right? I think I'm gonna attack through volume, right?
Yeah. So what's up with one? So I know the Black Belter, that's an anthology book. One Stone, that you're also doing Next Panel Press. Is that something eventually, like, you think that? Well, I'm sure you're thinking about it, like collecting it, and maybe is that your next Kickstarter after that?
I've been, I think, just at its pace, it's once every 2 weeks. It's once every 2 weeks. So every year is like a 24, is like I can have like a 24 to 26 page comic. So I have the first one. I have the first one out here, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's zine. It's handmade. Yeah. I'm not sure if I would kickstart it. If it's collected after like 3 years or something. I wouldn't want to do a Kickstarter for anything less than a 40-page comic. I think if I'm doing something closer to the 20s, I'll just staple it myself and then put it out there. And then once it gets collected more, right? Or people will just want it. Like One Stone is funny because One Stone is the imaginary book that's in Troop 44, right? The kids in Troop 44, they read this comic called One Stone, and when I got the opportunity at like when Craig and Rick asked about like Next Panel Press stuff, and I was like, do you have a strip? And I was like, yeah, One Stone. Like, what's it about? I don't know. Right? It's just in this book. So you'll see in the Next Panel Press post, it's the comic within a comic, right? And it's become something completely different because, well, Tree versus Fox, I knew what the story was going to be. I just didn't know what parts, so I did everything scattered. With One Stone, on the first page, I had zero idea where it was going, and it was just an exercise of yes, and it was an improv exercise that just worked really slow. It was an improv 2 weeks at a time, and that's fun, and that keeps it fresh, right? I don't like making comics in the same way all the time because I think I'll get bored, and then the boredom will show on the page. You know, with Tree versus Fox, I was everywhere, and then putting it together. One Stone, it's like, okay, deadline, boom. Okay, deadline, boom. Okay, deadline, boom. So like my inner JR comes out. I just don't want it to look like X-Men 300.
That was like one of my first X-Men comics too. That's
Yeah,
funny. It's funny that you mentioned that comic.
Yeah. I always mention that comic because that one hit me. That one got my feelings hurt.
Yeah.
But like deadline stuff, he's amazing. Like JR, like the more that I know about him and his process, like that's where I'm at. That's, well, not where I'm at, but
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see out those eyes. I can see out those eyes. I'm like, I want to do that, right? Right. Throw a deadline on me. I can handle it. It's just like looking for work. I can do it. I'm consistent, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the goals that I'd like to have with Tree versus Foxes. As much as I'd like people to read my stuff and want to follow more, I'd like to be able to showcase my art, and anybody that has gigs and spots and stuff. I'm not shy to say that I'm ready to do it, and even maybe if it's something that is not my bag, I'd like to learn it. I'd like to try it. Let me struggle, right?
Yeah.
Let me struggle, because every page counts towards that first 1,000. And I haven't done my count lately, but I'm getting closer. But I know I'm not there yet. And maybe my Etch a Sketch zine will count as something. So this is my other one. So this
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. Yeah.
It's the kayfabe Tober Etch a Sketches. Right,
Dude, you're fucking crazy with that Etch a Sketch, dude.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you have a talent, you don't know what to do with it. I think that goes for anybody that has a weird talent, doesn't know how to do with it. Put it in a zine, right? You know, a magic trick, you can pull something out your nose, whatever. Just draw it up and put it in a zine. Whatever it is, I've been slowly embracing that zine culture of, like, rather than sitting waiting and looking for publishers or seeing what kind of deals there are at whatever on demand printing services are. I've made good relationships with a few printers around in the area, like local printers. So because local, they're not bound by anything. So
yeah,
we can stretch it, we can massage things, and just and it fits nicely. So I got a new printer for Tree versus Fox, and that was like that was super cool. And the way that I got him was like, he saw me at a con, and I wasn't sure if he was like kicking tires or anything like that, and just hanging around the table, like, because we made eye contact. You know, sometimes you just make eye contact, and like, oh, I have to talk to this guy. I don't know if I suck him in.
It's so funny. Yeah, I know exactly what you're
talking. And which would have been completely fine, because I'm there yapping anyway, so I might as well sucker somebody in. But yeah, he was talking. He's saying that he was a printer, and he's looking, because with the print shop has like a general store at the front with a bunch of comics. Like I saw a Red Room trade, an X-Men Grand Design trade, and then a couple of big gigantic art books from Fantagraphics, right? And I was like, on top of like the regular Big Two stuff, I was like, oh, this is a little kayfabe shop. I think this is my LCS when I need to go pick up something new.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the printers are right at the back. I was like, yeah, throw a Tree versus Fox up there when it's ready.
Well, I just want to say, like, I love all the stuff, and like I think I told you last time, watching your progression with your art has been awesome to watch. With your anthology stuff, your One Stone, Tree versus Fox, I'm very stoked to get the book. Everybody listening and watching, so there'll be 2 weeks left on the Kickstarter. Make sure you get out there and back it. I'm gonna have the link down below. I'm gonna have all Jerome's links down below, so you can follow him on all social media, Next Panel Press, all that good stuff. And yeah, dude, I'm really stoked for you, and I can't wait for the book to come out.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah, yes, everybody. So all the K-Vapers and all the people chilling in the Comics Lounge, everybody that's hanging out in the Comics Cube, everybody in that internet space, Tree versus Fox, okay? Back it, share it when you back it, and then let's go get some variant covers.
Hell yeah, dude, I want those variant covers too.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, have a good one, and we'll talk soon.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, Ryan.